Start the recording. Okay, so today is payday! Yay! All right.
Yeah, yeah. I've received it. Yay.
Did you get
Thank
your
you so
payday,
much.
Cynthia?
Yeah, last night I have received it.
Okay, fantastic. Very good. All right. If you have any questions about your pay, please write on your journal. I am actually very new at creating
Yeah.
incentives, and sometimes I notice we've had some mistakes. So please remind me if something doesn't look right. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here. So the topic of today's conversation is about how revenue management can be persuasive. Now, 50% of what we do in revenue management is about revenue control during forecasting. But the crucial point is actually how do you persuade somebody else that you've done your job right? And it can be complex if we don't create enough documentation and if we don't remember the before and after. So the takeaway I want to have you and whoever else comes in today to walk away with is how good documentation can actually save your ass and make you much more persuasive when it comes to revenue management. Okay? All right. So let me illustrate a few cases that I want to bring forward. So the most important thing I think with this whole case of revenue management is just a simple practice, and the practice is just remembering to document what you change. Okay, document what you change because later on you're unable to explain anything if you don't document what you change. Okay, so let me show you something else that we've done recently. This is in the field of digital marketing that I can conclusively prove a certain point to any intelligent person because I did the correct documentation. Okay. All right, so let's begin. So the thing I want to bring forward is the problem. So we had a problem actually a few weeks ago. And what was the problem? Okay, so the market builders came up to me and they said, Jing, we're not getting very good leads from the website, right? And so I took a quick look at it and I realized I looked at the data and there's this concept called a bounce rate. Okay, do you know what a bounce rate means, Cynthia?
I'm not really sure.
Okay, bounce rate is bad in the world of websites. It basically means that somebody clicked on and they didn't do anything and then they clicked off. So basically, they arrived to your website and the only thing they did was hit the back button. So that's obviously not good. That means that they're not attracted, they're not like whatever, they're not engaging with your website, right? So we took a look at the statistics and it showed we had a bounce rate of almost 30%, which is not good. Okay, so then the question is, okay, so let's send you a question to see if you understand. What would be a real life analogy to bounce rate in like a real life physical world example?
Mm, Probably it's kind of like the analogy on the real life. Uh, I'm not sure. Is it about like kind of like ups and down? It's kind of like the game,
Hmm.
the bound,
Ah,
the bounce
okay.
game.
Let me give you a real life physical example. If 100 people went to your store, and 30 people didn't even go inside, they just looked at the store and then they left. They didn't pick up the menu. They didn't order a drink. They didn't sit in a chair. They didn't consume any food. That's basically a bounce rate. So they just went in your store and then they left without doing anything inside the store, right? So
Oh, it's kind
it,
of like just impression, no?
yeah, sort of like an impression. Um, but in terms of a website, you don't want to have high bounce rate. In terms of a website, you generally want to have low bounce rate. You want 100 people to come into your restaurant and 100 people to walk out paying $100 each, right? Otherwise your restaurant isn't attractive. Okay, in the analogy of a restaurant, let's say in the analogy of a restaurant, to reduce the bounce rate, what is something that you think would be effective to reduce that bounce rate?
Something that attractive and interactive.
It could be like a promotion deal, right? So
Yeah.
instead of looking at your restaurant and saying nothing, like I don't know what this is, maybe you could put a deal up today, happy hour special, 2-for-1 cocktails, or a prime rib steak dinner for
Happy hour time.
right. So these things help reduce the bounce rate. They help get people to sit down, consider, look at the menu, and maybe even order something. Okay, so that's the idea of bounce rate. So the bounce rate was really high. So this was the old website, and if you remember, Manage My Property used to look like this. So basically, the idea was we would change. I changed, and I made it cleaner, right? So it's a different photo now. So instead of using the old photo, which looked like this, right, we went with this new photo. And there's a few reasons why it's better. One, the old photo didn't show a property; it showed a computer with Airbnb on it. So it's not really compelling. Like, what is it that you do? Are you selling a laptop? Are you selling a garden experience? It's not. It's not very clear. So we're able to fix that. The second part is you see this text here: maximize your investment with proven result. That's not text. That's actually image. So the search engines can't pick that up. They can't read it if it's text on a picture, just like they cannot read Explore Airbnb, experiences, homes here, just like here. This here is text. This here can be picked up by the search engine, and this is just a picture that happens to represent text. Okay? So we changed all that, and we were able to see this one. Okay, so now the question is, how does anyone know if this picture did any better than the previous picture? Right?
Yep.
All right, so this is where we have handy dandy analytics. We can go into our analytics, and the great thing about analytics is you can measure the bounce rate. So what you can do is you can set up a targeted time. Now, remember, we need to document. We need to document when do we make this change. And since I made the change, I documented it on internal open source. Cynthia, when did we make the change on the website?
Sorry, sir.
When did we make this change on the website? What day did we make the change?
On Bukit Vista website. Is IS before
Here.
and after. Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Your voice is cracking.
Oh, right here, right here. Here's the day where we made the change. See?
Oh yes. Yeah, attachment before and after.
Right. So what day was that?
iOS
No, no,
internal
no.
open
What
source.
date? What date did we make the
Oh,
change?
sorry.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
sorry.
22 January. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 22.
Okay, 23 of January. Great, right?
Yeah.
So all we need to do is we take a look at the website from the 23rd of January until today, right? And we compare it to the previous period. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So we can compare how the website's been doing after we made the change on January 23rd, and then we compare it to the 2 weeks before the change, which was January 9th until 22nd, right? Okay, let's hit apply and see what happens. Okay, do you see that? The bounce rate has improved. The bounce rate before was 37%, and now it's 20%. There's a 46% improvement, right? And what's actually pretty interesting is that there's actually even fewer people coming. Okay, so I won't go into the rest, but this is how I can persuade somebody. So I can say, look, sir, you've hired me to reduce the bounce rate on your website by picking out good content. So on January 22nd, I made a change to the content, which I documented here. So then basically, I looked at the bounce rate from the days after we made the change, from January 22nd until today. And we looked at the 2 weeks before that, from January 9th until 22nd. So we're comparing 2 weeks to 2 weeks, 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after, and clearly we have less bounce. So, Mr. Whoever who owns the website, please pay me for the improvements that I've made on your website. And any reasonable person can nod their head and say, yes, it looks like you have indeed improved the bounce rate. Okay? So,
Okay.
how are we able to do this? We're able to do this because we recorded the day when we made the change, and we recorded what it looked like before and what it looked like after. Okay? So that's just an example off of like a website. Okay, now the next question is, let's ask ourselves the same question now, but not by using. Let's let's take a look at your work actually and see if your work is actually making impact. So let's go ahead and take a look at SQUAD 4. SQ4 PRM.
Yep.
Where is it? Not there. SQUAD 3 PRM. Oh, okay. Partner. See if it shows up. Here we go. It's closed. What happened?
Wait, sir. I think it's a private board, so I need to invite you there.
Okay. Please invite careers at Bukit Vista Bali there, and I will
Okay, sir.
take a look at it.
Or I can help to share my screen.
Sure. Fantastic. Let's do it from your side. Let's make this interactive. Let's make this
Oh
involved.
no, actually, it's a Bukit Vista team.
Oh yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
I will try to send the link.
Oh, there's just two boards. I see. Never mind. Yeah, here it is. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Uh,
Okay. Let's take a look. Oh, this is you, Cynthia. These are all.
oh no, uh,
No.
no, sir. Is it the link that I sent to you?
Um, this isn't it. Sorry. No, I don't know. I accidentally
Yeah,
opened it.
I sent a link on the chat too.
Yeah, it's the same.
Mm, wait, because it show like this on my.
Really? Oh, because there's a filter on, Cynthia, for you.
Oh really?
Yeah, you see this green button here?
Yes.
That means
Yep.
there's a filter that's been put on. So it's just filtering Cynthia cards.
Oh no, it's
Here,
all.
look, check it out, check it out. I'll release the filter, and now it looks like that.
Okay.
So if I
Got it.
put a filter on, and I filter just Cynthia,
Oh, that's only me. So yeah.
oh, Cynthia, I'm
Mm,
changed. This needs to be more process competency for understanding how to
yeah.
Trello
Yeah.
to this. Okay, don't worry. This isn't a class on Trello. This is a class on revenue management and being persuasive. Okay, let's take a look and let's see what we've done for Megalab, right? Okay,
Yes.
so you put a okay. This is too far in. Let's take a look at one of your pricing adjustments back in. Um, okay, here's one. You made a pricing adjustment on November 3rd, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Okay. All right, that's fantastic. You made a pricing adjustment on November 3rd, and let's go ahead and take a look. Now, here's the question. Um, when you make a pricing adjustment, you have to really think about what is a snapshot of things the way they look like before. Now, remember, we cannot snapshot occupancy or the calendar from before, right? Because the
Yeah.
calendar just changes every day there's a new booking. So the only way to see the booking on the calendar was if you snapshotted the calendar. Okay? So we can't see the calendar. But what we can see is what? Maybe like booking pace and weekly sales. Okay?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at November 3rd, and we're going to see what happened 2 weeks before November 3rd, and we're going to see what happened after November 3rd. Okay? And we can see the
Okay.
booking pace. So
Yeah.
what we're hoping to see is, did you actually improve the booking pace or the weekly sales after you made this pricing adjustment at Megaland on November 3rd? Okay? All right, let's go ahead and
Okay.
take a look at the data. So we'll snap here. We'll go and take a look at Megaland. Okay, Megaland Guest House. And we need to go way more than 30 days. So we'll probably need to go back, oh, I don't know, a few months. Let's go back maybe 6 months. Oh, not 60 months. 6 months. Okay, and let's also take a look at everything from 6 months ago. Okay, ready, set, go. All right, let's take a look at what you did. On November 3rd, which doesn't show here because this booking is on November 4th. Very good. I can probably say that you made some impact here. Well, it's a little bit hard to tell, actually. It's a little bit hard to tell. And the only way to actually accurately tell is let's go back a week from November 3rd. Let's go back up to here, October 25th. October 25th to November 3rd is how many days? It's 6 plus 3. It's 9 days, right?
Yeah.
October has 6 days, then plus 3. So I believe it's 9 days. Okay, let's look at what happened in the 9 days before. In the 9 days before, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bookings. 7 bookings in the 9 days before. Let's go up to November 12th. Okay, this is November 12th is 9 days in the future. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, okay. So was the booking pace doing better before or after you made the change?
Before.
Right. So we don't know what it would have been like if you didn't make the change, right? We maybe it would have been worse. But what we do know is after you made the change, it did not get better, right? It didn't actually improve the booking pace. So we know a little bit about the ranking. We know that even if you were able to help the ranking a bit, the ranking after the change was not better than the ranking before. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what we know about, let's say, the relative um, change and effect that happened. Let's take a look at the weekly sales. On the weekly sales on November, um, let's see, November 3rd was like this, and then afterwards, the sales went up a little bit. They went up about 50%, which is good. It's not bad. Um, so you can say, all right, it seemed like the weekly sales before were worse, and afterwards were better after you made the change. Okay? So this is the way that you can persuade an owner whether or not the changes affected or did not affect the situation. Okay, so this is still a little bit vague. It's not terribly clear what the output is because November was pretty terrible. Let's go take a look at another change that you made, and maybe let's look at something that happened more recently. Okay, so this is a change that happened in um, December, and this change was made on December 8th, affecting December 8th to 14th. Okay, so what you can do now is you made a decision on December 8th to affect the booking, the dates on December 8th to 14th. You can actually go back now and check the calendar and see did you sell those days, right? But once again, it's not really complete if we ask about a calendar question if we cannot see the calendar before because we don't know we don't know when the bookings or maybe we do. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what we can find out. Okay. So while we wait for this to load, what would you imagine a positive result to look like? And what would you imagine a negative result to look like on the calendar?
Mm, it should be like full. I mean, like back to back, kind of like back to back, and then yeah, and there are no gap in every day,
Okay.
and then
Yeah, that would be great. If it happens that December 8th to 14th is entirely packed, that would mean that you were able to successfully sell all those dates, right? For that particular property. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what the data shows us. There you go.
I think it's really bad.
Okay, but if it's anything in, oh wow, no effect,
Yeah, no
almost.
effect.
Okay, so 8 to 14, only these two bookings, and what we don't know is we don't know when they were taken. Do we? Can we figure out when this was taken, Cynthia?
I think uh, the booking is coming new.
December 11th.
Yeah. Call you for the garden. Yeah, it's on the 11th December.
Okay, so that tells us this booking was taken on December 11th. So did you help make the booking?
Yeah, but only one and only two.
Yes, you did help make the booking. I would absolutely say that you helped make the booking because do you see any other bookings from? Well, let's take a look at this is Rio, and let's take a look at the other one, which is Goo. This was made December 10th. Also in favor. You made the change on December 8th, and 2 to 3 days later, those were the only bookings that had happened. And remember, no bookings had happened before, right? And so
Yep.
I think it's pretty safe to say that it helped. But it did not help as much as you expected, right? It didn't really
Yep.
sell that much. So you can go to the owner, you can persuade him, yes, I was able to sell 2 nights, but it didn't sell as much as we were hoping for. Now, this builds intuition, Cynthia. You need to know how much did you discount by. Now, this helps you build intuition. Maybe you only discounted by a little bit, and that wasn't enough to get you a massive amount of sales. Maybe it would have been better for your next experiment to discount a lot more, and perhaps that would actually increase a lot. So, a whole sequence of persuasion and understanding is to understand, persuade yourself first what is happening. You make a change, and then you look at what the result is. If the result shows that you're doing good, then it would indicate that your hypotheses are correct. If let's say, for example, you said I'll take 50,000 down and I'll get 80% occupancy, and it worked, then you know you did it right, and you'll do it again and again and again. If you realize you took 50,000 down and you got only 20% occupancy, well then now you know what that is too. Okay, the whole method of being persuasion is to document and remember what caused what. If you're unable to explain what caused what, then you can't really be that persuasive. In fact, you can't even show your own value. Okay, let's take a look at, let's see, another property there. Let's take a look at Quinta and see what we have.
That's really bad.
Okay, Quinta, you made a change on January 25th. And let's go ahead and take a look at Quinta and see what's happened at Quinta.
Sir,
Yeah,
can I take phone call because I just ordered my lunch?
go for it, go for it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Iya nggak sih? Oh sama ongkirnya berapa?
Sir, I'm gonna take my food first, and
Okay,
then I will be.
it's okay. Go ahead and we'll just cut this short today. But the takeaway is this,
Uh-huh.
actually, Shandia. So the takeaway is whenever you document these figures,
sorry.
remember what you're looking to change and remember what has been changed and what the result is. I'll give you an
Okay.
example. So I'm trying to figure out your January 25th, and I don't think you added the price onto the documentation. So I don't
Oh,
know what actually was changed on January 25th. I only
uh,
see your weekly sales and your calendar status and your booking pace, which actually,
okay.
yeah, you do not need to put in. You don't need to put in booking pace because we can always look back and find what the booking pace was on the day you made the price change. So that's actually unnecessary to show the booking pace. You do need to put the calendar status because the calendar will look different on January 25th than it will today because new bookings will happen and cancellations will happen. So that status will change. You don't need to put in the weekly sales because the weekly sales we can always go back and take a look at that. What you do need to put in, absolutely, or you need to put what change did you make and what day did that change happen. And if you want to look at occupancy, because you're making a change to improve the occupancy, then you need to put in what the calendar looked like. Okay? And that way you can always be very persuasive. You can show this is your occupancy before I made the change, this is the occupancy after I made the change. I raised your occupancy, I shot up your weekly sales, you have nothing to worry about. Make sense?
Okay. So, yes. Actually, I have my own paper on this tracking. So, uh, yeah. Sometimes I didn't like record it
Okay.
on the PRM, but I did record on my own paper.
As long as you have it, then it's just for you, right? This is
Yeah.
to make it so that you can always look back at cause and effect. So document what
Mhm.
the change was and the day you made it, and that will always forever be helpful for understanding, um, and getting other people to be persuaded. Hey, look, I made it
Okay.
happen. Okay, have a good lunch
I will. Yes.
and
Thank you, sir.
have a great day.
Yes. I will start to document it.
Okay, all
Have
right,
a great day.
bye.
Bye, sir.